Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Busby, you mentioned in your testimony that you supported the change in the 1,000-acre rule, and I'm wondering, how long has that rule been in effect?
Farmer Mac was created in the late 80s, and it's been in place ever since the original statute was drafted.
And does the rest of the panel agree that that would be a beneficial thing to move that, lift that limitation on 1,000 acres?
Absolutely. We're an active Farmer Mac participant, and that would be very helpful. As these farms have grown, the median size has doubled. It's outdated.
And we would agree as well. Yeah, it's very important. And, as we've said, to get through down cycles, we need all the tools we can, from FSA guaranteed lending to Farmer Mac and other tools to manage our risk.
And Farm Credit is looking at this as we speak. We have concerns about structural issues, but at the end of the day, if you'll give us a chance, we'll come back to the committee with what our concerns are.
Okay.
And we have concerns about increasing the limit significantly. We have concerns that, as we've heard today, we frequently run out of funding. That when you increase those limits, that means fewer larger loans. We're very concerned that there be enough funding and that it be, it's more important that everyone who needs it has availability to it, rather than just it covering everything. What we see very frequently is FSA direct and guaranteed loans used as a part of a loan package rather than having to cover the entire package. And so they can be used as a base, but it's critically important that that base is available to everyone who needs it and in a timely way.
If I could just clarify that
Sure.
the issue that we've talked about quite a bit, the other panel members, about the FSA loan limit, which is roughly $1.4 million, and raising that limit and what impact that might have on small farmers, that's a different issue than the loan size limit for a Farmer Mac loan.
And I recognize that. The region I represent in the Catskills and Hudson Valley in New York State, we have a lot of smaller farmers. And I'm just wondering if there's a certain geographic disparity in terms of that need, as you see it, to raise that 1,000-acre limitation, because my concern would be, to some degree, what Mr. Marlowe was saying, that I wouldn't want to crowd out the ability of smaller farms, operations, to participate.
And we certainly wouldn't want to do that either. We've have had a focus for many years on small, beginning, and young farmers. Currently, about half of the loans in Farmer Mac's portfolio are to small farms, defined as gross income of less than $350,000. So it's really looking at serving all farmers, both small and large.
Could you provide the committee with information as to the geographic dispersal of those loans as well around the country?
Certainly.
I'd be certainly interested in hearing it. And one thing Mr. Marlowe said just a moment ago piqued my interest because, we have a lot of cattle operations that have arisen in the last few years in the Hudson Valley. And I do hear from people about the difficulty of getting processing facilities and the length of time and the distance that they often have to travel. And I'm wondering, have any of you looked at the question of financing for those processing facilities, and whether there's an overall need for those, or is this something that might strictly be limited to my part of the country?
We're seeing that the need for that kind of processing is across the board, and when you're talking about a smaller scale farm, it's obvious from what we're talking about in terms of prices that those commodity markets are not something that's going to be sustainable for a small to mid-scale farm. And so looking at both the financing and other issues that can cover that infrastructure that moves between the farmer and the market, but also looking at, in terms of access to credit, the crop insurance for specialty crops and for higher value markets, like the whole farm revenue crop insurance policy, which is fairly new. These things are geared more towards allowing smaller, more diversified operators to get into credit and to be able to borrow, and being able to extend the safety net into specialty crops, higher value markets, the types of things that are going to be more important in your district, is a very important part of the process as we move through the Farm Bill.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's interesting because I have operations that send their product down to Chelsea Market in Manhattan, and they're selling strip steaks for $30 a pound. And of course, no one in my district would pay that, but down in Chelsea Market they will. And so it's really important that we nourish and allow to prosper this thriving agricultural sector, these small processors, new processors, a lot of young farmers coming in. So I appreciate the panel's testimony here today. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.